So the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer has just been released and this looks like a damn amazing game. And the question on every Mac gamer's mind is this game going to be playable on Apple Silicon hardware in the future? So the main reason I'm making this video is because I know that for the next few years until GTA 6 officially releases, there's going to be tons of speculation, misinformation, and loads of questions that need to be answered. Simple questions like, do you think that GTA 6 is potentially coming to the Mac? Are they going to release a native ARM macOS version? And please make the GTA 6 gameplay video on M3 Pro when the game will be released in the next month. So in this video today, I'm going to go over the likelihood of GTA 6 being released on Apple Silicon Macs in the future. This is probably going to kill the hope of many Mac gamers, but I hope I'm going to give you a dose of reality. So the very first thing to say is that the release of GTA 6 is actually going to be in 2025. So this is a pretty far off date. It could be even 2 years from now before this game is released. And not only that, the only platforms that this game is going to release on officially at this point in time is going to be the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5. So definitely no mention of a Mac version and also no mention of a PC version either. So before you even get hyped up about GTA 6, just remember that we're going to be waiting at least probably 2 years before a release on console. And if the example of Grand Theft Auto 5 is anything to go by, we could be waiting about 1 year and nearly 7 months before a PC release. Or it's even possible that the PC release is skipped for this particular generation. Who really knows what's going to happen? Regardless, if you want to play this on a desktop computer, you're probably going to be waiting until 2027 or later. So next question is, will Rockstar release GTA 6 as a native ARM macOS port? And I actually think this is incredibly unlikely. So if we look at the Rockstar Games PC Gaming Wiki article page, we can see that they have various released games. All of them are pretty much ancient ports with 32-bit support only, so they don't work on Apple Silicon Macs. So these are pretty much useless. They range from 2002, 2011, 2013. Or if you're looking at a more recent port, this game here, Chinatown Wars, originally a Nintendo DS game, pretty much a bare bones macOS port. You can play this with a controller, but there's no keyboard and mouse support. The aspect ratio is that of the iPad, and it's pretty clear that Rockstar don't care about Mac as a gaming platform. But really, we need to look no further than Grand Theft Auto 5, which received a console and PC Windows release, but was never even considered for a macOS Apple Silicon release. Now, there are lots of reasons for this. There are technical difficulties porting DirectX games to the Metal Graphics API, which Apple uses on the Mac. There's the issue that the majority of Intel Macs at the time couldn't run this game without a dedicated graphics card, which most Mac users wouldn't have. But really what it comes down to is the Mac gaming user base, which is actually very, very small. If you take a look at the most recent Steam hardware survey, you can compare the player base percentages of the different operating systems that Steam can be run on. And if you look at the macOS stats, Mac users only make up 1.53% of the entire Steam user base. So if we released a game like GTA 5 on Windows, it's going to hit nearly 97% of all players, whereas on Mac you're only going to reach 1.53%, which is absolutely tiny for a company like Rockstar. In order for a Mac port to happen, you'd have to first develop the port yourself, but also you'd have to have the support infrastructure. So you'd have customer service agents who could help people just in case their game couldn't run on a Mac. And all this additional infrastructure and support doesn't really make sense if you're only catering to 1.5% of your potential customer base. Better to focus on your consoles and your PC release where you can make the most money with the fewest risks. But what about compatibility layers? Can we run the Windows version of the future GTA 6 on the Apple Silicon Mac? For example, the footage here is showing the Windows version of GTA Online running on macOS using something called Game Porting Toolkit, which is Apple's compatibility layer. And whilst the Windows version of this game was never designed to run on macOS, it actually runs pretty much okay. There's the occasional shaded compilation stutter. It can take quite a long time to actually load up the game, but there are plenty of gamers enjoying GTA Online on their Macs right now. So the issue with compatibility layers like Game Porting Toolkit and Crossover is the fact that many games don't run through this service. So we're lucky enough to have GTA 5 running pretty much okay on this particular compatibility layer. However, to this day, I still get tons of questions requesting compatibility for Red Dead Redemption 2. But obviously this is the most recent big release for Rockstar Games, and there is an issue preventing this from running through Crossover or Game Porting Toolkit. Some people say this is due to the AVX CPU requirement, development, which the Apple Silicon Mac does not support. However, it's more likely due to some form of DRM preventing it from running through Wine, making this game basically unplayable on the Apple Silicon Mac. So I'm not going to say it's completely impossible. After all, these compatibility layers are going to improve substantially over time. In the year 2027, we might have huge breakthroughs in crossover development, but really we're just going to have to wait and see what kind of DRM GTA 6 releases with. So if GTA 6 doesn't release on the Mac in the future, I think that this is going to be a real shame. And that's because the Apple Silicon Mac is a pretty incredible piece of hardware with an extremely efficient CPU and one of the most powerful integrated GPUs. Furthermore, the desktop PC market share of macOS has slowly been increasing, and we're now over 20% of the market, chipping away at Windows dominance. And it could be the case that in 3 or 4 years, this could easily hit over 30–40%. AAA publishers like Rockstar might reconsider their stance, especially when so many powerful Apple Silicon Macs are in so many people's hands. So anyway, let me know in the comments, do you think that GTA 6 is going to come out for the Apple Silicon Mac in the future? Will it be playable? If anyone ever asks, is GTA 6 coming to the Mac? Make sure to point them to this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.